What is going on, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while, but welcome back. Free agency has started. We have a few, I think, players that the Pittsburgh Steelers should go after. We are going into day 2 now. So far, they've picked up Patrick Peterson, which I think has been a good pickup. Good veteran cornerback. He actually came off one of his best seasons last year. So I like the signing. It's cheap, 2 years, $7 million, $5.5 million guaranteed. I like the contract. Steelers obviously need to do more. They have about 20 free agents themselves this year. I just want to talk about players that aren't on the team that I think that they should go and target going into day 2. Obviously, one of the biggest weaknesses on our defense is middle linebacker. Bobby Wagner was released by the Los Angeles Rams this offseason. I think they should go and target him. He's got some of that money coming through from the Rams from being cut. So he may not take a big contract because he's getting fed off of that money from them. But we'll see. I do think the Steelers should target him. He still could play. He was second-team All-Pro last year. Definitely still has that game in him. He's been a dog his whole career, and it's something, again, that the Pittsburgh Steelers need desperately. No Devin Bush, maybe no Robert Spillane next year. So it's going to be very weak. We still have Myles Jack on one more year, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think Bobby Wagner is a great person to go after this offseason, as well as Leighton Vander Esch. I think this one is definitely a little bit more realistic. He's more of an honorable mention for me, but he's another linebacker that is out there that, has kind of lowered his value a little bit, and the Steelers, I think, could pick him up. I think he'd be great in that middle linebacker position for them. Obviously, another player that I think that they should go after is bringing back Bud Dupree. We saw what he could do alongside of T.J. Watt, but now with him and Highsmith as a 3-man rotation, I think would be a great success for that defense. We know, obviously, T.J. Watt was hurt last season, and after he went down, it came down to Malik Reed, and the position just wasn't that good after that. Highsmith definitely stepped up in that time that T.J. Watt was out, but again, it's more for the rotation, and I think if you bring back Bud Dupree on a cheaper contract, I think the Steelers could, wreak havoc out in the end position. So I would like to have Bud back, especially on a cheaper contract. I know the Steelers aren't really working with too much in cap space this offseason, but they still have time to restructure some contracts. I think, obviously, starting with T.J. Watt, if they go to restructure him, Cameron Hayward would be a guy that you try to restructure, as well as Minkah Fitzpatrick. Just 3 of those guys that are highest on the salary cap for the Steelers this season. Obviously, another guy, too, I think the Steelers could possibly maybe cut. I don't think they will, because corner is obviously a big need for us, but Keller Weatherspoon, I think to free up some more cap space, I think we would gain about $6 million if he were to be cut. So we'll see what happens, but let's talk some more free agents here. Going with another corner, Rock Ya-Sin. I believe he was with the Raiders last season, but he's been playing pretty good. He was traded from the Colts, if I'm not mistaken, to the Raiders. And this year as a free agent. So he was pretty high on my board during his draft class. I would like to see him in a Steelers uniform. Again, just to beef up that corner position after losing Cam Sutton to the Lions, which was a pretty decent loss for us. I mean, a guy we drafted in the 5th round is now getting paid the big bucks. And again, big loss for us, especially replacing him with an older, probably a little bit more slower corner in Patrick Peterson. But again, I still like the pickup. Another guy, Donovan Smith, offensive tackle. He is known for his pass blocking abilities. I'm not too worried. Obviously, the run blocking is an issue for the Steelers, but the pass blocking, we need to protect Kenny, especially with that left tackle position. I'm over Dan Moore Jr. He does not need to be a starter on this offensive line anymore. I'm fine with Chucks. Chucks is okay on the right side, but I cannot take any more of Dan Moore Jr. He's been awful this past season. I think his rookie year, he played pretty well. Last season, absolutely awful. I think Donovan Smith, for a cheaper value guy, could come in and replace Dan Moore Jr., especially being with that pass blocking ability. I'm not bringing up guys like Orlando Brown. We're not paying $20 million for a tackle. Obviously, it would help Kenny, considering he is on that rookie contract. Build around him now while he's still cheap. But I do not believe that they would go after a big tackle like that. So that's why I'm going with more of Donovan Smith here. And the last guy I'm going to bring up is Greg Gaines. he was with the Rams last season, and again, the nose tackle position, that front defensive line, it's a little weak. Cam Hayward's getting a little bit older now. Larry I don't know if he's going to be back this season. So it's more of a depth kind of thing. But I think he could fill in for a cheaper guy too, and just wreak havoc on that offensive line. So I really think that, putting him there with Matrevis Adams, with that rotation with Cam Hayward would definitely help. So those are my top 5 free agents that I think the Steelers could go and target in day 2 here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And always, here we go, Steelers.